I will now, please turn your attention to the screen.
Buenos días, muchas gracias a la Cámara de Comercio de los Estados Unidos y al Banco Interamericano de Desarrollo por su invitación a este panel, al equipo de Conecta Américas por la organización del evento y a todos los asistentes por acompañarnos en esta sesión. A mí me invitaron a hablar de transformación digital, pero en nuestra charla de hoy hablaré muy poco de servidores, nubes, ciberseguridad, redes y mucho más sobre cómo afrontar desde una perspectiva más holística un proceso de transformación de negocio. Vamos a empezar con un breve recuento de los cambios más significativos que ha tenido nuestra vida en los últimos años. Probablemente muchos de ellos incluso acelerados por la pandemia. Ha cambiado la forma en que nos comunicamos. ¿Cuántos viajes hemos cambiado por una sesión de Zoom, Teams o cualquier otra herramienta de colaboración? Ha cambiado la forma en que compramos. Ha cambiado la forma en que aprendemos. Ya no tenemos que viajar a Palo Alto para hacer un curso en Stanford o a New York para obtener un certificado en Columbia University. También hemos perfeccionado nuestras habilidades musicales o técnicas. Ha cambiado la forma en que trabajamos, ha cambiado la forma en que consumimos contenidos, cambia la forma en que nos relacionamos o nos ignoramos. Nuestra medición de autoestima, cómo nos valoramos, cambia la forma en que vemos el mundo, la realidad aumentada. Cambian nuestros hábitos. ¿Quién no usa el celular como alarma? Cambian nuestras prioridades. Es más importante el post con la foto del concierto en Facebook o Instagram que vivir el momento. Cambia nuestro sentido de supervivencia. Cada 13 días muere una persona tomándose un selfie. Con tal de tener ese selfie inigualable, estoy dispuesto a poner en riesgo mi vida. Todos estos ejemplos que vimos y muchos otros más que podría añadir nos sirven para confirmar que el mundo sufre una disrupción, un cambio radical que no tiene marcha atrás. Por eso hablamos de transformación digital, pero en realidad es una transformación de negocio impulsada por el cambio generado por la disrupción digital. La transformación digital no es sobre cambiar tecnología, es sobre estrategia, liderazgo y sobre todo una nueva manera de pensar y hacer las cosas. No es solo un asunto exclusivo de servidores, tecnología o algoritmos. Además, la competencia en la era digital también cambia. Estamos girando hacia un escenario en el que la competencia se dará cada vez más entre ecosistemas en vez de industrias. Esto hará que cada día sea más difícil entender quiénes son los competidores reales de una marca. Pero estos cambios no se limitan exclusivamente a los bienes de consumo. Un caso muy interesante es el de los museos, una industria que tradicionalmente no había tenido competencia en un sentido estricto. El Museo del Prado en Madrid o del Louvre en París son únicos. Pues bien, estos museos hoy compiten por algo tan valioso como lo es el tiempo de sus visitantes. Hoy tenemos tantas opciones de entretenimientos y modernos de casa, incluso con realidad aumentada, que captar la atención de los visitantes cada día se convierte en un reto mayor. Y no podía dejar pasar un ejemplo clásico de mi industria. Nosotros hoy brindamos las conexiones de banda ancha que permiten a los usuarios eliminar las llamadas tradicionales de voz o incluso renunciar a los paquetes tradicionales de televisión a cambio de una o varias aplicaciones de contenido.
Voice call with the contents, and this is something very well known that summarizes the reality we have been talking about. The business models have changed, consumers have evolved, and they come from where we don't expect them. That's why we need to approach strategically the business. This focus that goes beyond technology starts to understand the customer, the process, the data, innovation, our capacity of response, the culture, our mentality, and the leadership. I will develop now the concise way of each of these elements. Let's start with the customer. The history relationship between the brand and the consumer was a long life. The great brands captivated the consumer, and there were almost no other contacts besides persons. This is the world of today, content, searchers, all this ecosystem. Any consumer can have more information and power. let's talk about Johnny. Everything starts with knowing the customer. We need to understand his life cycle and each contact point where they interact with our brand. All the interaction needs to be connected independently of the attention channel, online, presential, by phone. One example that can happen is Giuseppe Johnson, the person in charge in one of the most important shops in the world. And for the managers, they thought that the prices were the most important, but customers of JCPenney were different. They need to have their problems solved and fell in love of the problem, not of the solution. Let's see now an implementation that worked very well. McDonald's understood that his customers wanted to place an order in a fast way. Let's talk about process now. Process cannot be an end in itself. It needs to be a way in order to guarantee the experience that the customers have waits. With the process, we need to eliminate processes that don't add up value and make them simple. An example is Zara. Zara is able to launch 24 collections a year, one each every 2 weeks. The customers can monitor the information in real time about what the customers are buying and creating the design. These processes are standardized and they are possible to capture the value, helping the company to design, to produce, and to deliver the products with precision, attending the demand, reducing the cost, and decrease in the obsolescence index. Let's talk about data now. And here, something new between data. Before, data were important. Today, they are fundamental. Before, data helped us to improve process. Today, they make us to understand the customer. Before, they were a snapshot. Today, they are real-time elements. Caesar Palace is a good example. Caesar Palace knows in real time everything you do. From the moment you get into one of their cast scenes, where you are, which kind of machine are you using, you are winning, you are losing, when you ate last time. Thanks to this, they can offer you personalized services, even to the point of giving you a gift, a New York steak. Now, let's talk of the challenge of data. Data, you need to make it into a resource. Data are a lot, but they need to be transformed in concrete actions, because data are generated all the time. Once converted something useful, a good example, from the moment you buy a pair of shoes, automatically you will be recommended the same design of the similar shoe. Let's talk about technology now. And here there is a history platform, Just, launched in '97 and by the same creators of Skype. This was the first service of Skype peer-to-peer with all the technology, but without the changes of Holodoc that did. That's why it's appeared. Let's talk about now implementation successful of technology is Domino's Pizza. That is a company of technology. Let's see why.
Ahora
Now,
vamos con nuestra...
let's, with our fifth pillar, innovation. Innovation sometimes may not work well. And the first implementation of Google Glass was not successful because the search on internet, consultation of massive pictures did not work better in another devices that had more memory, better processors, better cameras. Nevertheless, with time, they found a use case that brought value to the customer. Let's talk about response capacity. Zelux created the first pilot in the world, like in the picture. People did not understand, and the project died. Steve Jobs saw it, and 7 months later, Lisa 2 entered the world. And in this case, it's very interesting because it's about something of people that brought disruption and had to adapt it like everybody else, but they knew how to answer. First, the CVs, then Apple, and for years. But then Spotify comes in and breaks down the Apple model with its own model. Let's talk about the 7th pillar, culture. Companies have personality, but this personality can change like a coach. We need to have a culture of transformation. Let's talk about open mentality. This is an example we know, but here there is a question. What was the mistake of Blockbuster? Do you know? It's a mistake was strategic. They believed they were a retail business and not entertainment. It could be the new Netflix. Let's talk about leadership, not less important. For this, you need leaders. That digital transformation does not happen alone. And the digital guy needs some features: adaptability, perseverance, vision, inspiration, look for talent. He can use the shoes of the customer, and is a good communicator. So to change is more than it likes. Like an iceberg. Underneath, it's what supports what is over the water. The world changed, and our habits, communication, study, entertainment, our priorities, even including the perception of reality. The process of digital transformation is much more than technology, needs leadership. Among other things, companies face new challenges, new competitors. It's not possible to change without connectivity that supports all the channels of communication, habilitates the process, and makes possible the information flow so we can be more productive. Let's talk about economical impact. 10% increase in the digitalization index. It's equal of 6 million new jobs, reducing the unemployment rate in from 10 to 8%. Thank you very much to all for your presence. And now I am available to your questions and comments.
Hello, everyone.
Hola todos. Ahora,
Thank you so much, Santiago, for your presentation. So if you have additional questions or comments for Santiago, please do leave them in the chat and we will begin the moderated discussion. Okay. I see we have some flowing in. Okay. And I see a question from Ana Julia Vega. Santiago, are you able to see that one?
Let me check.
Okay. I can read it aloud and forgive my mispronunciation in advance. ¿Podremos continuar con la presentación o grabación del webinar? Gracias. Desde Ecuador.
Sí, let me get back to her in Spanish.
yes, 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 absolutely. The organizers can send you all the presentations. There is no problem.
And everyone, please feel free to share additional questions in the chat.
Había otra pregunta, creo que un poco antes, en relación a quién era
About the kind of business. We are a company of telecommunication present in all Central America, Colombia, Paraguay, and Bolivia. And our mission is to build up digital highways so we can help people. We deliver telecommunication services, fixed and mobile, with infrastructure, with third partners.
Thank you so much, Santiago. And
Gracias, Santiago.
another question, and forgive me if you've answered this, from Contable. ¿Cuál es el costo estimado para un proceso de
What is the cost, estimated cost of for one company of services? What kind of platform will you recommend? The question is quite comprehensive. I would say that far from thinking about systematizing the process, we give more value short term when you try to change a concrete floor. When we have service platforms, the higher cost are the process of procurement. To have an online platform to make possible the customers to consult the invoice and pay online. It's a very low cost, but the return is very high and gives a lot of satisfaction to the customer. If you want to go beyond this, you can go to other transaction simple like the renewal of a service and the purchase of additional services. This model focus on concrete episodes make possible to reduce the return investment, return time, and to see what the customer really values. And these two things I have told you are very simple things, can take weeks, but the investment is minimal.
And we have another question. For small businesses, how to better apply digitization at a low cost?
I think that as we mentioned, I don't know if that question was in English or Spanish, but I'll get my answer in English. I think that the first question and the most mandatory question that we need to make is how better do we understand our customers? Because sometimes every single digitalization process starts by understanding our own customers. And let me share with you some experience that I have from my own role as a B2B vice president. Even though we serve like a single segment that is called B2B, we have under B2B many different customers. It's not the same. There are not the same needs that you have in a small business, the needs that you have on a big or large multinational conglomerate. So first of all, let's start by understanding who's your customer and what is he demanding in terms of sales channels, service channels, or the product offering. Once you have find out this, then you can embrace the full process. But the more time that you invest understanding your customers, making sure that you are targeting the right customers, this is the best investment that you can make.
Thank you. Thank you for that response. Another question for you is, what do you think about new social media platforms like TikTok or other platforms for advertising?
I think that as we mentioned, all of our customers are using those platforms. They are present in those platforms. They are getting information through these platforms. So we need not only to monitor, but also to be active in every single platform that is providing information to our customers. So that's pretty much the same. And today is TikTok, it could be Instagram. It really depends on the customer profile that you have, but definitely all of them are feeding information to our customers and all of our customers are using those platforms in order to express their satisfaction or dissatisfaction with the services that we provide. So that's pretty much something that we need to not only monitor, but also understand how they work, and also listen what the people are talking about our services, our products in those platforms.
Thank you. And another question for you is, what would be your advice not to have the process sort of come to an abrupt end when shifting from analogical procedures to digital ones?
I will get back to the previous point that I mentioned. I would love, I mean, if we were building a new company from scratch, I will build it a digital company from inception, digital first.
Mm-hmm.
We know that this is not possible or feasible in the short term when you have a company that is already running, that you have already machines, factories, and processes. So then you need to start by identifying where are those areas in which you can add more value by digitalizing the processes. It could be either an improvement at the operational level, or it could be also an improvement in terms of experience for your customers. But it really depends on what is your industry, what is your current status, and what is the customer demanding from you. I could share with you, I mean, at the beginning, I was sharing some examples about some companies that, I mean, our approach for digitalization that was mostly based on experience in order to improve our customer experience. But there are other examples. For example, we have one of our most relevant customers is a company based in Honduras, whose name is Elcatex. And what they did is that they basically connected every single factory that they have in Honduras with their biggest customers that are mostly companies demanding textile products that they build, that they are based in the US. So they managed to, in real time, monitor the inventory levels that they have in the US and plan the production on a daily basis. So that's pretty much a smart factory that they built. By building that kind of factory, which is something that closely resembles what I presented in the Zara example, they managed to reduce inventories at a dramatic level. They managed to improve the time to market because basically they were fulfilling orders in a couple of days compared to months that they had in the past. And they can easily read what are those products that are having more demand and what are those other products that don't have as many demands. So that's pretty much, I wouldn't say that there is not a single recipe that really applies for every industry. You need to look at your whole value chain. You need to look at what are those pain points or what are those opportunities, and start right there.
Thank you, Santiago. And then we'll have one last question, and this one is from Carlos Torres. Santiago, communication is the biggest support for IoT. Agribusiness is extremely fundamental in this moment, shortage and new changes / opportunities. What are the plans for IoT platforms in LATAM to speed up and cover as many as possible?
Wonderful question, Carlos. Thank you so much for asking. I will say that every single telco company like us, we are constantly improving the coverage of our own cellular networks. I will say, to give you an example, Colombia, 2 years ago, we were covering roughly 70% of the country. Right now, we are covering more than 90% of the country. Still, there are some gaps, but I think that those gaps will be covered over time, either by the cellular technology or by the recent development of satellite technology. Most of the new satellite players are already present in our regions. So either cellular, either satellite, or any other technology that we might even deploy, 5G or whatever, or even fixed broadband, we can reduce that gap. Because definitely, as you mentioned, getting this coverage is not only relevant for the agricultural applications, but also for the fleet management and some other applications that we have not been able to deploy in our countries, and they are already operating perfectly in the US and Europe as well.